Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out. Welcome to Magnetic Coaching Part 2. Now, when we think about the concept of a magnet, think about magnets pushing together or really repelling against each other, pushing away from each other. Every single day that happens in the workplace. I want to share with you 2 scenarios. My wife set up an appointment for me at the hospital, and I went in to get a COVID test for a procedure having done, nothing major. And I went in and I called and I got information, and they gave me all the wrong information. I went to the wrong place. I had it on voicemail, and I walked into the hospital today and they said, "You don't have an appointment." And I said, "Well, actually, I called the number. Here's the number I called. I was sent to the wrong place." I said, "No big deal. These things happen." I was very calm. And she said, "Well, you don't have an appointment." I said, "Yeah, I know I don't have an appointment. That's why I was told to come in. My wife's on staff here. We called last night. We were told to come in that you didn't need an appointment." She said, "Oh, wow, we usually don't take walk-ins." I said, "But you do take walk-ins." She got up and she walked away from me. And I'll never forget it. And so I followed her and I said, "Ma'am, can I talk to you a second?" She said, "Yes." I go, "Your organization told me to go to the wrong place. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. You just told me you typically don't take walk-ins. So it is your policy, I'm asking, to not take walk-ins." She said, "No." I said, "Awesome." I said, "Can I ask you something?" She said, "What?" I go, "Are you having a good day?" She goes, "I am so sorry. I was extremely rude to you." And I said, "You know what? We all go through that." So what I did, she set me up for an appointment, and I went down to the cafeteria and got her a cup of coffee. And I brought it to her desk. I illegally went through a door at the hospital and dropped it off. And I said, "Hey, look, this stuff happens." And I said, "Sorry if I came off abrupt." And she said, "No, you didn't at all. You were very calm." She said, "We are just overwhelmed." I said, "Yeah, I know. My wife's a doctor on staff here." She goes, "Oh, she is?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Boy, you healthcare people, when we stop and pause and just engage with people, we can become magnets." Now, I could have gotten upset. I had every right to get upset. My wife was even upset last night. Here's the funny thing. I just did an EQI assessment. So we're certified with MHS in emotional intelligence assessments. And I had a salesperson for one of our organizations literally tell me that his score in empathy and impulse control was low and he just didn't care. I said, "Wow." I said, that's awesome." And he said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Well, that's awesome." And I sensed he wanted to have a fight. And I said, "Can I ask you something?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Why did you share it like that?" He said, "We're going through so much stuff right now. People don't know what we're going through." I said, "Nope, I know I don't." And he stopped. I said, "How has this affected you?" He said, "My wife's job was turned upside down. My kids are stressed out about this thing." And I smiled at him as we were on a Zoom call, and I said, "Boy, the sales industry's been hit really hard." He goes, "You have no clue." I said, "Oh, actually, I sell a lot. My major role is coaching, but I have to sell. We don't even employ a salesperson." He said, "Oh." And I said, "No, let's go back to you." I said, "How has this affected your wife?" "Oh, she's so stressed." And I said, "What can I do to assist you?" He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, what does your wife do?" "Well, she's an administrative assistant." I said, "Do you know there's services out there that allow you, like Upwork or virtual services like Zirtual that she could hook up with and work remotely? He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'd love to help you. So the two stories I just shared, we're very triggered. People have been turned sideways. Remember, not just our proactive approaches with our employees, but our reactions to people can dictate somebody's day. So as I walked out of the hospital, going back to the first story, the woman followed me and she said, thank you so much for doing that and getting me a cup of coffee. She said, you know what? It's going to be a great day. And I said, awesome. We'll see you later. Now, again, I know I'm an upbeat, hyper guy without a jar of Ritalin, probably need one, ADD, running rampant. This is what I do. And so a lot of times people can coin me, well, he's kind of fake and pretentious. Nobody's that happy. Yeah, I am. And the reason I am is I have to coach myself. So remember, when you're coaching your employees, start with yourself. Are you going to frame out? Are you going to approach? Are you going to coach? Are you going to proactively get in a mindset of being positive and becoming that magnetic coach? So when I walked out of the hospital, I could hear people talking about me. That was the nicest thing. I got her a cup of coffee. And I know firsthand, healthcare has been turned sideways. So at the end of the phone call with the sales rep, he says to me, he said, you know what, man? I needed this conversation. So remember you as a coach. Remember you as a leader. There's an L in leadership. There's an L in listening. If we thoughtfully schedule time and or take the time to listen, it's amazing what it can do. Now, I'll share this with you. I struggle with that because I go fast. I like what I do. I like to get to a lot of different things. I like variety. I like building content. And sometimes I don't get to everything I want. And sometimes hypocritically, I do that at the expense of my own employees. And I pull them back in because every day, that magnetic force, that magnet, that magnetic coaching isn't just a motion of pulling people in. We can unintentionally push people away. Start with yourself, start with your employees, and then get in that mindset. When you're reactive, how can you help that person? Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.